Good morning. Over the past few weeks, I've been asking myself, what is the one best way to leave an impression on the whole school during my chapel talk? Perhaps something nobody's ever done before, like a chapel talk without a script. The idea greatly appealed to me, but on second thought, it also filled me with fear. A chapel talk without a script will require a tremendous amount of preparation, but actual school students always over-prepare, so that won't be a problem. The real problem, however, is a fear of failure. Even with a script, there are many things to fear about. For example, you're afraid to look directly into the eye of some faculty members because then you will know that your talk is not good. You're afraid that if you avoid eye contact and look somewhere else, the audience will start wondering where you're looking at instead of listening to your talk, which is perhaps to be wished for in some cases. You want to have eye contact, but just for the right amount of time, not too long so that it becomes awkward, but not too short either, while all the time keeping an eye on where your speech has gone. It is hard. The solution, other than preparation, is to not think about what is to come. I was afraid of heights for a long time. The tallest ride I've ever been on was a 10-foot tall free-fall ride. When I watch other people screaming the whole way on the roller coasters, part of me enjoyed their pain. The other part of me enjoyed not feeling their pain. But then this summer, the situation got out of hand. One weekend during my summer camp, the instructors decided to take us to Six Flags. I didn't know what Six Flags were, so I looked it up. And instead of showing Six Flags, it says, Kingda Ka, the world's tallest and second fastest roller coaster. I looked away from my phone and started to regret for signing up for something I have not researched beforehand. When we went on the bus, all my friends were excited, but I don't feel the same excitement. So I took my phone out, and the first article happened to be about roller coaster accidents. I turned off my phone and started to eat my bag lunch, and it tasted awful. Somehow, I thought about my family back in Shanghai. I thought about the cute little face of my younger brother. I thought about actual school. I thought about Tim O'Brien, whose book I have not finished yet and probably never will. A few moments later, I found myself lining up for the first ride called Batman. I counted the number of 360-degree turns, and before I got to 13, I fainted. When I woke up, I saw my camp crush standing beside me. I suddenly forgot about my fear of heights. I stepped onto the Death Express and buckled my seatbelt as if I had done this all day. "You look nervous," she commented inadvertently. "'Cause I'm with you," I said. That only happened in my head. Now that the engine has started, I tried my best not to think about the ride that was to come. I looked up and saw the big Batman sign. And suddenly, this inspiration kicked in. Let me just imagine for a moment that I wasn't on a roller coaster, but instead in the Batmobile, about to start my engine to chase off a criminal. I was so into the image I created for myself that for the next 1 minute and 45 seconds, I had one of the best experiences in my life. During that ride, I was Batman, catching up with some invisible criminal ahead of me. It is ironic, isn't it? Imagination was what created my fear. It made falling down from a roller coaster so real to me, even though I've never been on one. It kept my heartbeat up for the whole bus ride, when I could have enjoyed my time and perhaps talked to the crush that had always sat beside me. But imagination also helped me conquer my fear. It redirected my focus to a reality that was imagined. Will Smith once said, "Fear is not real. It is a product of the thoughts you create. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. Indeed, fear is a matter of perspective. You can choose to terrify yourself, or you can convince yourself it's not real. Last year, I went to the final round of the Shakespeare recitation contest, and when I was sitting in the front row, waiting for Mr. Gregory to call my name, I could hear my heart pounding. But when I stood onto the stage, a funny realization came to me. The audience has to wait for me to finish my recitation, even if they don't want to. And if I make a mistake, it's forgivable because anyone else might have made it. But if the audience doesn't clap at the end of my speech, then they're being disrespectful. Though the idea sounds presumptuous, it really helped direct my focus. By slightly adjusting my mindset, I drove away fear in a totally intimidating circumstance. And if you can't overcome fear for the first time, repeat the process, try to overcome it for the second time, and perhaps you will succeed. A year ago, I watched a horrifying TV series called Stranger Things. For those who don't know, it's about a bald girl fighting against a dehumanized monster. And someone told me that in order to gain the best watching experience, I had to watch it alone in my room. I did, and I had nightmares for 5 days. But then I went on watching the second episode and the third, and by the time I got to the fourth, I had figured out a pattern for the show. I knew exactly when and where the monsters would pop out. And I found the source of my fear. It's not the weirdly shaped Demogorgon or the Mind Flayer, but the spooky background music, which was always cued before their entry. So what I did was that I muted the computer when it was necessary. And now I have total control over my fear. From a show that scared me to one that I enjoyed, I simply repeated the process, found the source of my fear, and muted it. Now, as I look back to my roller coaster experience, I realize how ridiculous it was. On the bus, I was convinced that I would die on a roller coaster without knowing that 2 weeks later, I would find out that it was 9,000 times more likely to be struck by lightning than to die on a roller coaster. So why was I never afraid of being struck by lightning? Why was the concept of roller coasters so intimidating? Why did I spend my time on the bus fearing when I could have enjoyed my time with the friends? In my heart, I knew I was perfectly safe, but it wasn't until the moment I got off the ride that I realized I had wasted my time fearing a danger that was never there. That day, after I came to this realization, I got into 3 other roller coasters and rode 6 times in total. The fear never came back. And that is how fundamentally we deal with fear all our lives. Once we take that first step, we can take the second and the third. And the more we repeat, the more we get used to the situation and the less we fear. At a certain point in your life, you will no longer fear about anything because eventually you will have to try all of them. You will have to pitch your idea in front of your future boss. Or if you're your own boss, like Dr. Scroll, then you will have to make a presentation off script someday in a chapel or to your future business partners. The future will come and you will eventually get over it. And by the time you turn 80 and all your hair grows white, nothing will ever intimidate you anymore because you have learned to make peace with fear. The last story I will tell happened a week ago. During one of my humanity class, I asked one of my friends, "What are you going to talk about for a chapel talk?" My talk is on Monday, and I haven't finished my first draft yet. My friend stared at me for a minute and said, "Proud, I already had my chapel talk. You were there. You took the picture with me." We are still friends. And the point is, I thought chapel talk was important, and I bet my best friend thought so too. But this is how much most chapel talks mean to us. An event that we think is unique and intimidating might just be part of the daily routine for some others. Nothing is ever more important and scary than we make it to be. Go in peace.